Good afternoon, everybody. If you weren't with us for the last session, then I am Simon Cohen. I am a co-founder of the Aardvark Israel programs. We have lots of different programs that are available to the Australian community. If you missed it, the previous session was about our tech track called Big Idea Gap Year at Aardvark Israel. And this program we're going to talk about now is a brand new program for the Australian community. It is one of the most exciting and immersive, I would say, in Israeli society. If Sarit, you can let me share my screen, then I would love to do a presentation about the program. It is called the Masa Year of Service program, and thank you, Sarit. I'm just sharing my screen now, everybody. So the Masa Year of Service program. Sorry, bit of movement behind me. I apologize for that. Is designed in order to bring young Jewish people to Israel to have a long-term volunteer program in Israel. And the idea is to give you a significant experience in Israel through social service and a rich educational tourism type program as well. Basically, we're going to be offering you the opportunity to do Shirut Leumi. Shirut Leumi is national service. It's the program that Israelis can do at the age of 18, some of them instead of the army, sometimes before the army. It's a way of giving to the state of Israel. It's a way of making a difference to the sectors of Israeli society that need it the most. So we've set up a program in areas of health, education, welfare, and coexistence in Israel. And these are areas where you are volunteering in areas where Israeli society really need volunteers. And there are hundreds of people, hundreds of Israelis volunteering there, and yet it's not enough. And it's a really special program that's available. We're the only ones offering it to the Australian community to do that Israeli experience, to have that volunteer experience exactly like Israelis who are 18, 19, and we're going to be doing the same experience alongside you. And in terms of an immersion program into Israeli society, there is nothing better than this. It is a 10-month program. It's only 10 months, but not only, but you can't do any shorter or longer. It's a 10-month program. We're running it for the Australian, South African, and American communities. There will be overlap between those communities, so you will meet different types of people from all over the world at the same time as being fully immersed into Israeli society as well. We're basing the program in Haifa. Now, most people don't know Haifa that well. Haifa is the third largest city in Israel, and it's the city that tourists kind of fly through. They spend a little bit of time behind gardens, maybe they see the beach, maybe one or two other things, but then they move on to the next place and go further up north or come further down south. And then they get to see the beauty and the amazing culture and society that actually exists in Haifa. So aside from being a beach town with amazing beaches and obviously a great nightlife and certainly a downtown and everything else, it's also the center of coexistence in Israel. It is the city that prides itself in coexistence. You can see that in the picture in the top left-hand corner. That has amazing history to it as well, both going back, thousands of years, towards the, Crusader time period, all the way through to, the Templars who, built up the area of the old city and the German colony of Haifa, all the way through to the British Mandate period, the War of Independence, and everything else that's ensued. It's an amazing, beautiful, stunning city built on the hills of the Carmel Mountains. And if you haven't spent any time there, it's a really great opportunity to do so. Now, this is the program where you're not living, you're not going to be in a bubble, you're not going to be living in a dormitory or in a hotel or a hostel somewhere. You're living in an apartment smack bang in the middle of Haifa, very near the downtown area of Haifa. And our expectation on the program is that you're learning life skills. You're cooking for yourself, cleaning for yourself, you're learning how to budget, you're doing your own laundry, grocery shopping. It's also a great opportunity to live with people you've potentially never met before, a chance to live with them and learn social skills, communication skills, conflict resolution, and all these kind of things as well. So you're living in fully furnished, fully equipped apartments that are standard Israeli apartments. You will receive a stipend each month, which will be enough, or should be more than enough for your grocery shopping and even a bit of spending money as well. And again, the apartments are fully equipped. They've got Wi-Fi, washing machines, ovens, microwaves, fridges, freezers, and all those kind of things. So you can really, be comfortable in your apartment and have a comfortable living situation and learning all these life skills at the same time. Now, in terms of volunteering, we're offering you the opportunity to do hardcore volunteering at its highest level, and its purest sense of volunteering. There'll be very few opportunities in life where you're given the opportunity to do such a pure high level volunteering experience. And if you're interested in health or education or coexistence NGOs and things like that, these are going to be fantastic things on your resume. And even if you're not interested in them, they're going to be fantastic on your resume anyway, because there are very few 18 or 19-year-olds who are taking a year out of their life to give back to other people, to give to the poor elements of Israeli society or any society. And so we have opportunities to do real life work alongside Israelis in a field of your interest. You're doing 4 days a week, and each day is 8 hours. So it's almost like a full-time job, whether it's in hospitals, schools, kindergartens, coexistence NGOs. Certainly at the beginning, we'll be doing on-job training and learning all sorts of skills that are professional skills to help you be more advanced in those areas where you're going to be based. For example, in hospitals, you're going to do a full training program in the hospital, so that you're not just going to be like bringing tea and coffee to people. You're actually going to be, taking blood and doing small procedures and helping out with people and welcoming and dealing with, the sick and the ill that come in a very safe environment, obviously. In terms of schools and kindergartens, we paired up with an educational college in Haifa called Gordon College, which specializes in new age education and modern education techniques. So it's not just going to be going into school and like, oh, I'm going to teach you English. Here, let's read this book. But it's actually learning how to use things like virtual reality and coding and technology in order to teach things like English. But if you're good at other subjects too, you can teach things like computing and doing some, maybe some sports and maybe some English and maybe some maths and science if you're good at it. Especially if you have good Hebrew, it's a really great opportunities for you in the schools as well. And the same thing is true of the coexistence NGO. The NGO will train you for the first few weeks of the program in order to be useful to them, in order to make a difference. And these are really great opportunities to, again, get professional development in different areas and give back to Israeli society. And again, you're giving to the areas of society that need help. Once a week, the whole day is set aside for enrichment activities. Now, that could be educational seminars and tours in and around Haifa and throughout the land of Israel as well. So, you're not just going to be, stuck in Haifa the whole time, but really going to get you out and get you out of your workplace and get you out of your apartment and to see amazing places in Israel. As I said before, Haifa is not a place in and of itself that's very much traveled. So we're going to show you all the amazing things there are to see about Haifa and meet the different communities in Haifa and meet the different minorities that exist in Haifa and really get to know them on a really deep level, but also to show you what we like to call hidden gems of Israel. Those secret places that tourists don't know. I mean, even Israelis don't get to the place we go to. And that's every single week of the program. We'll be, going around and seeing different things and seeing different places, having educational seminars. Some of them will be connected to the Jewish festivals and the Chagim. Some will be connected to Judaism in general, to Zionism, to Israel, to history of Zionism in Israel, to Arab-Israeli conflict, all sorts of different things like that. We'll also be giving you some Ulpan, so you're improving your Hebrew skills. You'll obviously be, in a fully immersive Hebrew-speaking environment all day long. We want to make sure you're getting the skills, you're getting the confidence, you're able to practice, learn, take it to the next level and everything else. Whilst you're there, we'll also be giving you some sort of pedagogical support and guidance that fosters personal development, both in terms of personal development, in terms of your own personal skills and skill set, but also in terms of professional development as well. We're not just going to throw you in the hospital and hope for the best, but throughout the experience there, we're going to, and the schools, we're going to be, talking with you, giving you feedback, helping you grow, helping you take on more responsibility in your placements and having a more meaningful experience. Some additional information: the cost of the program is $13,500 US. There is a nice Masa grant. It depends, obviously for different countries, different amounts. So we can certainly give you the information about that. But it's certainly, in terms of the program for 10 months at $13,500 US, it's definitely one of the cheaper programs. Please don't pick it because it's a cheap program. Pick it because it's a good quality program and you really want to volunteer and do shurut in Israel. That's kind of the goal of the program. We'd really like people who are self-sufficient on the program, motivated, and want to be volunteering in Israel whilst you're on our program. Here's our contact information. You're welcome to take a picture of the screen so you can have our contact info. And I also posted in the chat my contact information. In terms of some other information, the Aardvark Israel program, as I said earlier, is the largest gap year provider in Israel right now. Over the course of this year, we'll have probably somewhere between 300 and 400 people on our various programs. And we've been running the program since February. So we have a lot of experience dealing with COVID-19 pandemic and what that means about running a program in Israel and all of the challenges that that draws up in order to give students a meaningful and healthy and safe experience in Israel. At any given point, we've had 50 to over 200 people on the program in Israel since February, since the pandemic started. And we've been running meaningful programs, even during lockdowns. So hold on one second, there's a question. Sorry. There's a question about what happens on the other 2 days of the week. So that's the weekend, Fridays and Shabbat. Fridays and Saturdays is the weekend in Israel. That is predominantly free on our program. We will do some group Shabbatonim and programming like that. But the weekends are free. And that is your time to explore Israel, visit friends, visit family, travel around. You're welcome to stay in your apartment and you're welcome to host people in your apartment as well. Thank you very much for that question. I'm sorry I didn't mention it before. Daniel Goldman. Back to COVID-19. So we've been running the program. Even when there was a full-on lockdown, our students were able to get out and volunteer once or twice a week, either in the field, helping pick agricultural produce and making sure it gets to the supermarkets and things like that. And also delivering care packages to the most needy in society, those who absolutely mustn't leave home because they're in the high-risk categories and stuff like that. We moved some of our activities online because of our students were living in apartments. You know, there's a difference between being in lockdown in your parents' house and being on lockdown where it's you and a kid from Sao Paulo and a kid from New York and another kid from Antwerp and somebody from London and a kid from Los Angeles. That's a very different kind of lockdown experience. And the students loved it and had meaningful experiences. And you can certainly go on Facebook and Instagram and see a lot of what our students have written about that and the new skills and growth that they did whilst that was going on. Obviously, as the country opened up, we were able to do more and more things, and we've been running field trips every week. Right now, 2 weeks ago, we welcomed almost 200 people onto our current program. Most of them needed quarantine, and they're just finishing quarantine now. We've been running what we call a orientation program for the last 2 weeks, which is orientation and quarantine put together. So we did a orientation program with all sorts of amazing activities. And as the country changes and as restrictions change, we do lots of different activities that are appropriate for our students, enjoyable for our students, challenging and meaningful as well. And I think our students who are on the program and were on the program will tell you they've had a very meaningful experience. We've also dealt with every occurrence you can imagine. We've had some students who have caught corona and we've dealt and they've been fine and they're healthy and they've been asymptomatic for the most part. And we've learned and we have experience dealing with that. We've had people who have been suspected, you know, potentially being in touch with somebody who had corona. We've dealt with that as well. So we have experience running the program, dealing with anything that comes up. So you can feel confident that we know what we're doing and how to do it if you send your kids on our program or if you are students and if you end up coming on our program as well. So that's a little bit about the COVID-19 program. If you want to come, our deposit's fully refundable until November the 1st, although we are looking into that and whether or not we're going to extend that deadline depending on what's going on in Australia and if there are flights and if you can get out. We're pretty confident with the help of Masa in particular and the ZFA that we'll be able to get you all into Israel in one piece and healthy. So that's everything I wanted to say, but I'm open to questions now, aside from Daniel's questions. Anyone else has any questions, I'm happy to answer them and talk to you. And again, if you're looking for a full Israeli experience where you're really immersed in Israeli society, using your Hebrew every day, making Israeli friends, trying something very different, and love volunteering, then this is the perfect program for you. Out of all the programs Masa offers, this is the perfect program for you. So open now for questions, comments, thoughts. Thank you. Okay. So it looks like we don't have any questions. So if you do have questions, again, my contact information is in the chat box. And you're welcome to reach out to us at Aardvark Israel anytime. Again, we're running the technology program, the Big Idea Tech Track, and also the Masa Year of Service program based in Haifa, the 10-month National Service Program volunteer. Thank you very much. Bye for now.